Today I'm going to describe what I got everything planning on the spring planting, and just going to have a look. And here with all these white spoons are hills of corn. I planted them 2 weeks ago, but I don't see a single one emerging yet. I'm not too worried because I've seen it even later than that. If it was where it was kind of failing, they would be like scattered corn, but there's none yet. There should be some here in a few days. And next here, I got potatoes, and I think they're some Yukon Golds or Kennebecs. It was kind of hard. I planted them from our seed potatoes from last year, and those Kennebecs and Yukons are hard to white potatoes in the ground, and they haven't emerged, and it's been 2 weeks. And here we have purple sweet potatoes that I cut the ends off last fall of the sweet potatoes that were right here. And then we have a helicopter. And they grew over the winter in the house. And they're doing okay. My son's going to cover them up because we're going to be gone to Australia. Today we're starting to go, and he's going to cover these up tonight and probably Thursday night, and hopefully no other time. So we're going to be gone 3 weeks, and the garden's on its own more or less. And let's see what here I got. I planted some cauliflower that the seed was pretty old, and I don't see anything yet. And that cauliflower comes up rather quick, maybe within a week. It hasn't come. I would think there'd be one or two, but. And I planted some bell peppers in the next row. Bell peppers take a long time to come up. And I got next row is sunflowers, giant sunflowers. They haven't poked their head. And this next row I planted tomatillos, and they're not coming up yet. And the tomatillos were from seed from tomatillos that came in. They came from out of nowhere. The birds probably brought the seed in, and I harvested. Had a lot of tomatillos last year, and I saved some seed, and I got it planted, and see if they'll come up. And here we do have something. We have some cabbages that I planted nearly 2 weeks ago. They're coming along. This one here died. This one here is still okay. There's one. And there was a tomato that died. And of course, this one is still there. Its leaves are gone. In the house, there were bugs that were eating them. And that one barely has leaves, but it's starting to grow a little bit. Got 2 viewers. And here's a couple more rows of potatoes. I think the potatoes, maybe on that first group, were starting to push the ground up. But it rained a couple inches and it kind of tamped them back down. And here are some sweet onions. This first row here, or this first row it said on the packaging, Georgia sweet onions. And most of the ones up further on this next row are Texas sweet onions. So it's going to be Texas versus Georgia. See who's going to win the Onion Bowl. This year's who's get the biggest onions wins the Onion Bowl. Okay. Hey, I can see those pretty good. And I got, I think these Denver carrots, and they came up rather well. I got them covered with this screen to keep the squirrels from digging around them while we're gone. And here is some lettuce I did the same thing with. I got one little spot that I don't have enough screen to cover, so they'll be at the mercy of the squirrels. So, but they're going to be good. And these sweet onions, they're really starting to, they were a little green, and I bought them and I just bury them a little bit in the ground, and they're starting to look rather impressive, better than last year at this time. Okay, ain't got 5 viewers. And where's the thumbs ups? And what did I plant here? Acorn squash. And I planted them pretty early, but I wanted to get them in before we left. And some variety of pumpkins here. And here's some cabbage that I put in late last summer. This one here, probably when we get back, might have to eat. And this one here, hopefully there will be some cabbage heads there in maybe 2-3 months. Oh, this is, what did I plant? Okay, I put some climbing beans here, and this is the 3rd generation from a bean that I planted. And then there was a volunteer bean last year that climbed the fence, and I held back some seed, and I put some beans in and see how they'll do. And they were really productive, especially 2 years ago. There was one bean that climbed the fence, and we had beans. I had to pick them every week or less, and they just really were productive. So I'm going to try to get that again. Of trees I cut down, and I got junk or just rotten wood in the bottom, and I put some soil here on the top, and put some potatoes in there. But the potatoes, there is nothing coming up. It's been was a fairly cold winter, and they let's see, over here I dug around a little bit to see what was going on, and they're starting to grow, but they just haven't come up. Okay. All right, so let's see, what did I put here? Yeah, I put cantaloupe here, and butternut squash right there, and a variety of watermelons in this one. So this whole narrow section is going to be vine plants, and it's going to be, hopefully in 2-3 months, it's just completely covered in vines. I've got my water catching started, so when there's a dry spell, I can use this water. I actually ran out of water here a few days ago, and I had to use out of this faucet and do a little bit of watering to get things. When I plant, I would water on top of this, make the seeds come up, and I needed some water. All my water was used up. Yeah, I had these things standing a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and the wind came up and it blew them over, and it didn't catch hardly any water, so I had to use the city water. And here is I got more sweet corn. I got like a second planting. It's like the first planting, it's not coming up. And here's this 3-year-old cabbage, and I felt sorry for it. I didn't cover it during those cold spells. It survived a little bit of it, and I'll give it a chance to grow among the corn. And here is white onions, and there was getting really weedy, so yesterday I hoed between the rows. They came up so I can see them and clean out the weeds, and they look real good. There might be one or two that haven't come up. So, and there's more potatoes. I can't remember which. I planted some red potatoes. Maybe these are the reds. Yeah, I think they're the reds. And there's, I think, 16 hills. And here's a volunteer tomato that I brought in last fall. And I grew it in the house, and I brought it back out here. It looks pretty good. It's supposed to get cold tonight. It needs to be covered. See what's okay. Here I got a couple rows of tomatoes. I started them in the house with seed. It was pretty old seed. It was like, I think 2018 seed, but they came up really good. I planted a lot of seed, and some of the places they all came up, so they're pretty thick. They're a little bit sunburnt, and I put these little pieces of wood on the peak sun hours to keep them from getting bleached out, and it worked pretty well. They're recovering. They're getting used to the sun. I think this row here is a celebration breed or a variety. That's what it said on the packet. And here are some beefsteaks, and I've been growing them the last several years. So they're like this one here. There's like about 10 plants in that hill, but they'll compete, and probably the stronger ones will grow tall and put on some tomatoes. And here, this is an empty area. I think I'll put sweet corn in. And here's the cabbage, more of those cabbages. And here's one I cut the other day, and I had a couple meals of cabbage and sausage. It was pretty good. And here's, what is it, there's 3 different heads. That one feels solid. That one. And this one here is oh boy, that one's coming along good. And that one, it feels solid. And here's the one I cut on New Year's Day, and it's starting to go to seed. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. A lot of the time when you cut a cabbage, they'll put some little heads grouped around, and that didn't happen. It wants to go to seed. Okay, and these tomatoes are going to be covered tonight and Thursday night most likely, and hopefully no more. And here's house plants, and that's an avocado, and I got what is that, rosemary, and that's a shamrock. And happy St. Patty's Day, shamrock. And they're kind of a cool plant. It's about 3-4 years old. It grows and it blooms, and then it dies back a little bit, and then it comes up again over and over. It kind of cycles out, and it's a pretty interesting plant. And over here, there's a couple pineapples. And I don't think we're going to get a pineapple this year. So I'll just keep, bringing them in the winter and bringing them out. And we may get a pineapple next year. Okay, we'll go around here. And here's a big cover for those plants tonight. I found this, I don't know, a tarp or something. It was, I was cleaning up around the creek, and it was kind of laying half in the creek, and I pulled it out and let it kind of rain wash it out, and it's a pretty good tarp for cover. So, just use what turns up.